Coca 2005 sent me this story coming out of East Brunswick, New Jersey, where you have this man whose name is Area Goodman, and he's a rabbi, and he's 35 years of age. And he was also, well, before I get to that point of the story, let me just give you the backstory. This guy here has a prior sex crime conviction, and he was just busted and arrested again while being involved in an underage sex trafficking ring. Let me repeat that. He already has a prior conviction for a sex crime conviction. He already has a prior conviction for that. Now he's busted again for being involved in an underage sex ring. The thing that gets me is this again, meaning that he was able to get out the first time and go back to doing whatever it is he was doing, and now he's busted again. I'm willing to bet they're going to let him go again. This is no different than when you have the so-called Jew get caught up in these I'm trying to get the words right, these welfare frauds, racking up millions of dollars in welfare fraud, and they don't serve a day in jail, and they go back out to the streets again to commit the same exact crime, just to rotate them in and out of doing work processing, and they don't see one day behind bars. Just a waste of time. Let me go ahead and read this story. A rabbi with a prior conviction for sexually abusing a minor was one of 3 arrested for allegedly sex trafficking an underage prostitute. Rabbi Area Goodman, age 35, was arrested along with 18-year-old Gabriella Colon and 23-year-old Richard Ortiz by investigators in the Middlesex County Prosecutor's Office, East Brunswick Police, and Middlesex County Sheriff's Office. Officials said the Colon and Ortiz sold the sexual services of a 17-year-old girl from Lancaster, Pennsylvania to about 30 men at a hotel in East Brunswick from January 1st to February 2nd of 2018. Rabbi Goodman was one of the men who engaged in sexual relations with the 17-year-old during that time. I just can't believe it would happen here, said one of Goodman's neighbors in East Brunswick. This is how I know this is a white person that said that, because white people are the only people I know that say, I can't believe something like this happened here. This is such a nice neighborhood. It's so quiet. They kill me with that crap. But let me continue. And that its religious affiliate is even more sad. Well, it's a lot of stuff that goes on in those churches and, places like that. A lot of them hide behind that shit so they can commit the acts that they do. Goodman, who runs a religious learning center out of his home on Beacon Hill Drive here, has been charged with 1 count of engaging in prostitution with a child and 1 count of endangering the welfare of a child. Why does this sound like such a misdemeanor charge? He turned himself into police at the East Brunswick Police Department on February 6th. Neighbors told WPIX that they were familiar with a previous conviction that Goodman had. In 2015, he served prison time for indecent assault on a child under the age of 13. The crime had taken place when Goodman was in his late teens. Also, he has a history of this. It's upsetting to hear that it's more than that, one neighbor told WPIX. Another said they got in a text from another neighbor on Monday morning reading, "Here we go again." Ken Streisand, who has lived across the street from Goodman for many years, he said. His wife is a very lovely person, Streisand told WPIX. The kids are very nice. If this had happened, I just feel sorry for her. Colon and Ortiz, both from the Bronx, were arrested at a motel on Fort Lee on February 16th and are being held at the Middlesex County Adult Correction Center in North Brunswick. They have been charged with 11 criminal counts, including human trafficking, promoting prostitution of a child, endangering the welfare of a child, criminal restraint, and a number of child pornography offenses, including the manufacturing, distribution, and possession of pornography. The investigation is still ongoing. Like I said, the fact that they even allowed this man to get out and let him go back out into the world again just to commit the same crime over again, even though the ages were spaced out, because it said one was at 18 and the one was at 35. The guy has a history, and I'm willing to bet you that he is not on anybody's sex offenders list, because if he was, they would have mentioned it here. So I highly doubt that he is. I'm almost certain that he isn't. And it's amazing how he got hit with the less amount of charges opposed to the other 2 people that were involved. He should have had more charges tacked to him, but something tells me because he's a rabbi and because of who they are leaning, who they worship or who they are towards and who he caters to, he's not going to get that much time if he gets any time at all. And that's probably why they didn't get him the first time, because they said late teens. So that most likely was probably 18, 19. Because if they said minor, he couldn't have been 17. Otherwise, they probably wouldn't have hit him at anything. But this just shows that they can get away with it, but it's not surprising, because if you look on the FBI crime stats list under sexual assault and rape and all, basically those kind of crimes, they lead in an astronomical amount out of any other group on that list. But y'all let me know what you think down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I'll talk to you in the next one.